Leadership Award away tonight to a man who is very inspiring. Thomas Allen Budd was in the investment industry from 1981 to 2009, where he held various investment banking roles. His last position was when he joined a partnership of Griffiths, McBurney, and Partners in the position of president and took it public to form GMP Securities, which is listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. During his career, Mr. Budd was involved in over 1,000 financial deals, of which he was lead underwriter on over 480, and as a lead financial advisor on over 600 mergers, takeovers, and restructurings. Since retiring in Kelowna, Thomas Budd has become a well-known community leader, a philanthropist, a founder of the Thomas Allen Budd Foundation. He generously supports a variety of charitable organizations, predominantly in his community. Tom's current journey and purpose is to share his story, to give people hope, and to help them through the hardest times in their lives by speaking out. He is an advocate of awareness surrounding mental and emotional health issues and suicide prevention initiatives. Tom supports a number of local charitable organizations and initiatives, some of which include the BC Cancer Society, Kelowna General Hospital, BC Children's Hospital, the Canadian Mental Health Association, Kelowna Community Food Bank, Cops for Kids, Okanagan Boys and Girls Club, and the YMCA Strong Kids campaign. Mr. Budd has set up a Youth Scholarship Award for the Young Male and Female Volunteer of the Year at the Kelowna Annual Civic Awards. Starting in 2018, Tom set up annual scholarships in the names of both his sons, Dylan Thomas Budd and Peyton Leigh Budd. Mr. Budd has embraced his community. He is a leader, he is a listener, and a speaker. He strives to inspire others to do their best. He is a man who chooses to make a difference in our community and around the world. Please welcome to the stage, Thomas Allen Budd. Introduce once more Thomas Allen Budd, the recipient of the 2018 District 21 Toastmasters Communication and Leadership Award.
Thank you. I'm honored to receive this award from District 21. Well, we'll start back at the beginning. But anyway, my story, it's changed. I'm going to take a 1-hour speech and turn it into 7 minutes by your guidelines to me. My speech used to be on my successful career. What's it take to be successful? How to make that much money? What were the personality traits that it take? And that was an entertaining speech. And then 12 years ago, 14 years ago, that changed as I went into a journey of self-discovery. And that speech was really much more, from my standpoint, much more pleasurable to give, much more impact. And I was able to, what I think, really inspire people to use their talents, but to use it in a less self-centered manner, which I definitely was a self-centered person for most of my life without knowing it. One of the reasons I was so successful. And then, my new story, I recently started telling about 5 months ago. And for about 2.5 years, I really didn't speak very much in public, but I spoke enough to stay engaged, to still have a purpose. I'm going to share my newest story with you tonight in a short manner, but hopefully my goal is to impact you in some way. Maybe you carry my message forward, and maybe I've changed you a little, and therefore I've changed the world again today, just a little. I must admit that I'm very impressed with the Toastmasters organization. I have to plead that I was very ignorant until receiving the award of really knowing what Toastmasters was. I mean, I've heard it for many decades, but I really didn't dig in. When I do anything though, I do try to learn about it. I've done a lot of research, I've watched a lot of videos, and wow, there's some great speeches out there on YouTube. But I'm impressed because when I look at what Toastmasters stands for, at least when you're trying to bring in new members, and you're trying to talk about your membership, where it talks about connection, building true friendships, using feedback to help people grow, not having echo chambers that tell anybody what they want to hear, and being shallow, but meaningful relationships and connections, self-improvement. I go, wow. How'd you hide that from me? I could have used this a long time ago. Well, my speeches still are funny. See, I had funny speeches before tragedy hit. I didn't think it was funny anymore, but you are allowed to laugh. I will be crying. I just want to warn you with that. I don't get through this without crying anymore. But in all seriousness, this is a remarkable tool. And I speak out of many topics, and I'll explain why shortly. But you know, of late, mental health is a big one to me. And I've had my own depression, clinical depression, through situations in life. And I would have to say that I was severely depressed about November of last year. You know, on a scale as low as 30 is as low as you go on a depression scale, and then it gets really ugly, I was a 28. And for about the last 2 months, I've run about 2, and I doubt if many of you do. And that's from doing the work, but also the tools that you guys embrace and teach each other. So just know that when I go forward in my talks with various people, I'll be recommending that people join Toastmasters. So I do know some of the rules, and I know you have a timekeeper. Good luck. I heard there's somebody that counts Oz. I will have 0, but I will cry, but I'm smart, so once I cry once, I'll just cry for the rest, and only count as 1. I love the way you give feedback. I really do. It's quite remarkable that an organization like this picked up on something which I really could have used. So I can accept some feedback, but due to the 7-minute rule, I've got to evoke, you can't give me feedback, but I will give you feedback on how good you are at the end, and you don't get a choice. I will tell you, so please let me know how you like my speech at the end. Just to start here, something that you should know before I go, and I don't share this very often. In my life, and I'd say probably 7 or 8 years ago, I've had what you'll call 2 spiritual awakenings. Okay, Dad, don't get too worried. He hasn't heard this come. But I've had 2 spiritual awakenings, and I don't discuss it with very many people. And they were real. And because of those and what I've gone through, I can't deny that it's happened. And part of my journey is trying to find out what my spiritual purpose is, to have a spiritual connection, to have that as part of my physical health and emotional health. I need to be spiritually healthy for my soul. I did not know that until I was 40-some years old. But somewhere 6-7 years ago, I had 2 spiritual awakenings in 2 days in a row the same. And my arm was pulled up in the air, my head was pushed down, I cried, blah, 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 blah. And I was given my purpose. I've been asking for it for years, because I was on a journey. But I didn't hear it. Well, I heard it. And my purpose was, go tell the world, life is worth living. And I went, pardon? Go tell the world, life is worth living. I'm serious. That's like telling Gretzky, go into kids' dressing rooms and tie their skates, such a purpose after retirement. Really? Like, I was destined for more. I was known as the guy full of life. I walked in the rooms and took over the room. I was a half-full guy in any class. If there was a problem, I could solve it. There was no challenge too big. I let people know life was worth living just by the way I lived. I lived it big. So that was my purpose. Go tell everybody life is worth living. I parked that to the side, needless to say. It wasn't enough for me. It wasn't challenging enough. I would find some other purpose in my retirement years, in my road to recovery, than that one. So now let's go back to my childhood. As a child, believe it or not, I was told I talked too much. I heard the words sit still and keep quiet a lot. I was called mouthy, blabbermouth. My report card said I was disruptive. I actually brought one. My dad won't remember giving me this a couple of years ago when I was doing some counseling work, but here's my grade 1 report card. Oral reading A. Silent reading C. Vocabulary, I love this one, A+, grade 1. The notes, I gotta read it small. Tommy is a good student, but he sometimes finds it very hard to sit still, keep quiet, and pay attention. If I had the other report cards, the pattern stays. As a kid, I was scrappy, energetic, and in your face. I was willing to fight for what was mine, but more so I fought for what I believed in, and I defended the underdog. I had to switch from fists due to my size to my voice at a very young age. I honed my skills, and by high school I won the debate team competition. In my early 20s, working for the Securities Commission of Alberta as a farewell gift, they gave me a gavel. Tom Budd, have mouth, will argue. I keep all these mementos for my kids, by the way. I stored everything for my kids because I was an older dad, and I love my kids dearly. I was an older dad that worried about them, you know, having their dad die, and they were a young age, so I've been storing up all this stuff for them, including those two things, so I'm glad I've gotten to use them. I used my voice in my business career to give CEOs advice on financings, acquisitions, and hostile takeovers. I had the nicknames Ram Bud and the Street Cleaner. I was feared if I decided you were a target. I was called a disruptor by many, and still am. In the process of my career building in 2001, the Financial Post said that I've done more transactions of one individual ever in the history of Canadian investment banking. The same year, an independent research firm out of Toronto, Brennan Woods, gave me the #1 investment banker in North America for the oil and gas industry. I was on radio, TV, and yes, the cover of Canadian Business Magazine. I love to talk. If I had a cause, I talked a lot. Again, I probably talked too much. I'd have to say that I was also unbalanced, dysfunctional, and although I used my voice to help out clients in a very narrow measure of success, I was not using my voice the way that luckily I do now, where it's done more to help out others and not be as self-centered and give back more than I take. So to be honest, 14 years ago, the guy on the cover of the magazine hit the wall. I crashed. I found out that I couldn't be all things to all people. I couldn't be the best at everything. I couldn't be the best investment banker in Canada and be the best husband and be the best dad. And I wouldn't even think about what kind of son I was. I tried to be the best friend to everybody I met. I was what you'd call a people pleaser, if anybody understands codependency. I was a people pleaser extraordinaire. And it came to an end. I crashed. I had to make a choice. Luckily, my genes were a thing called resiliency. Maybe common sense finally set in. But I took the crash and I chose to look at myself. I chose to dig deep. I was self-reflective. I became self-aware. I think I became humble. I made changes. I started on a path of recovery 13 years ago in self-discovery. I've learned to share my feelings. I've learned to be truthful in my thoughts. I think I'm extremely vulnerable. I'm not afraid to be intimate. I want connection. I want connection with you tonight. I want to have impact. I want to make change. I still want to be acknowledged for great things, but I want different measures. Recovery gave me that. Recovery made me a better son to my dad who's here with me, and I love him dearly. Recovery and self-discovery made me a better brother to my sister. I love her dearly. I turned a bunch of shallow acquaintances into 8 great friends. One of them who's here tonight, Malcolm, and I didn't ask him because I don't like asking anybody for anything. That's part of codependency. I can't ask for help. But he wanted to be here because he's my friend, and I have 8 people like him in my life, and they have saved my life based on what I've gone through. Connection. I focused on honesty, willingness, and openness. I try to follow a spiritual path. I try to stay emotionally healthy. I try to stay physically healthy. I try to be a giver and not a taker. The biggest change is I became a great father. My kids love me. I learned there were no mistakes, it was just learning experiences. I gave them good feedback, but I gave it with respect and love. They knew they mattered. They had a voice. They could be anything they wanted. I'd be proud no matter what. I knew as a parent I was supposed to make them safe and let them know they're loved. I think I did that. My 13-year-old, the youngest, spent 9 months with me. He bragged about his dad non-stop. He told his psychologist stories of me and how he felt finally he was an adult and he had a voice. One Friday afternoon, he came home and he wanted to watch a movie with me. And I said yes. And we wanted to practice drums, so I go home for a bike ride. And I gave what he wanted. I gave him what he wanted. I went for a bike ride. Bang! I came home. I found my son dead of a gunshot wound 3 years ago. His phone with a text to a girlfriend that I didn't know he had. That I actually warned him about not having. The text said, "We'll see who has the last laugh. Dylan Budd, rest in peace." The last laugh. I did what I had to do to survive that. I had another son beating his older brother who was 16 at the time. I dug deep. I went to counseling, went to suicide groups, called other people that had dealt with this. I had my sister, my dad, and friends to lean on. Right about this time last year, my oldest son came home who I worried about depression. He was at University of Victoria. He lived in Calgary with his mom also. In any event, we were about to go to the Edmonton Oilers game one day, and he was feeling a little off. His marks weren't good. He called me up to tell me he loved me. I knew something was wrong. I raced home. Bang! I found 2 dead bodies now in 3 years. The first one was April 10th, a couple of weeks ago for my youngest. My oldest died less than a year. It'll be April 30th, will be the first year. They both told me they loved me. They both communicated well, that they respected me. My oldest son in his journal talks what he thought I was the smartest man he's ever met. I should run for Prime Minister. Am I lucky or unlucky? Is glass half empty or half full? Am I broken or am I healed? I get to ask questions every day because not a lot of it makes sense. I thought I had a purpose. I thought I was living my life well. For the first 4 months after my second son's death, I didn't care if I lived or died. I only woke up to see what was going to be thrown at me, to get this, what else I could handle. I was in pain. I suffer from PTSD. It's off the map. I've been to 4 clinics in the U.S. where the war vets go. My PTSD is higher than theirs, they say. I'm numb most of the time. About 5 months ago, I had my 3rd spiritual awakening. That's another speech. Let's just say, on that day, it was clear I wasn't supposed to die, and I needed to stop thinking that way. It's like everything else I've done in life. I started putting one foot in front of the other. I did what I was told. I brought in spiritual leaders. I went to brain clinic scanning. I would do EMDR therapy besides my normal grief and trauma therapy. I go get ketamine injections that will put me into hallucinations to calm me down. I spend about 4 to 5 hours a week in different types of counseling. I go to suicide groups. About 4 or 5 months ago, I could feel a difference. I started having hope again. I could feel all the love this community has given me, the connection that you people talk about, you give each other in your Toastmasters program. People walk up to me everywhere and hug me and give me words of congratulations and encouragement. They give me good feedback. Tonight there was a man waiting. This is the day of my life. There's a man waiting out there, and he came up. And I thought it was one of you as a greeter. I thought you were getting me early, and he could see him. He had a picture of me. But he had read about this event. He didn't know how to get me. And he lost his son, and he wants to talk to me. He's 82 years old. I have teenagers come to my house that don't know me, and I see them pacing. And I go out to ask them what's wrong. And they don't feel good about their life. But they all want to know how I've survived. Why do I stay alive? Because they don't know if they can, and I tell them. That's how I spend my time now. And my hope and faith grows daily. I'm not as funny as I was, but I can laugh. I'm not as smart as I was because my brains have been fried. So this is my new reading, Memory Rescue. I refuse to give up. I will try to get my memory back. Hopefully in a few years I'll be making funny speeches, or a little funnier than this one. But in the end, it's what I say and how I say it, and can I impact somebody. My days now are spent in a variety of ways. And in any given week, I get the chance to talk to parents who have kids that are addicted to heavy drugs. And they're scared. They go to bed worried about their kids dying every night. I get to help them because I understand that world. I understand impulsivity, obsessiveness, addiction. I get to talk to them. I go and talk to recovering addicts or young alcoholics on a weekly basis, and I tell them my story, and I give them hope. I tell them the things that I do to get myself from being depressed. I go into prisons now and talk to people there because many of them have no hope. When you hear their trauma, their story, they have nothing to live for, they think. Suicide attempts in prison is huge, so I fund suicide prevention programs. But I go in and talk to them. They hear my story, and I'm still here. They know they matter when I go in to talk to them. Same as here. I flew in from LA today. For those who haven't noticed, it's pretty nice tux I have on. I wore it for you, because this matters. This audience, this is my conduit. There's somebody out here that maybe I'm going to impact. You might know of some luncheon somewhere with the perfect group of people where I can go and talk and give my 1-hour presentation and show people that there is hope. There is a life. I've had moments where I didn't think I was going to make it. Luckily, I never thought of dying, but I didn't care if I died. Today, I care. I don't want to die. I have a lot I can do. This award means a lot. But don't get me wrong. This award and all my other awards and all your love and everybody's attention, you're not going to replace my kids. You're not going to take my pain away. But the same way as you joined Toastmasters to improve, to be a better person, I choose to do the same thing. I don't want to be a victim. I don't want to be stuck. My life probably won't be as good and as joyous as it used to be, but it's way better than it was 5 months ago. Since you called me to say I was getting this award, I've been excited for a month. That's good enough. I've had a purpose to get ready for this, to come up here, to try to do it. But the beauty is, Acceptance? I'm just going to do my best. And I know you're all going to appreciate I got up here. It's not if I was perfect anymore. It's that I tried. That's my message to people. They matter. You matter. Thank you for making me know I matter.